I remember the first time I went back to Kotzebue, I was like, how's this gonna go?
Yeah. Scary.
It was scary. But it was also great. A lot of family were just supportive and like lots of touching, huh? But then, grease your hands off. I gotta break out. But like an elder from Point Hope was in Kotzebue. Do you guys do this? Like they have TSA and they're like super serious. In Kotzebue, they're super serious and they're like all white dudes from I don't know where.
Yeah.
And then they bring you through security and you can't just get right on the plane. They make you sit in this little room area, right? And we were all crowded in there.
Yeah.
And there's this elder, and a friend of mine from high school was escorting this elder from Point Hope to Anchorage for medical. And he, real quiet, he's like, you remind me of my Anna. And I was like, I'm here in this crowded, we're all sweaty, and they're like, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, so sweet.
Yeah.
And the family was okay. I think they can be harsh, but and that people, like I've had this discussion before, the people they're harshest with, even amongst our family, are people who go get educated and then come with the idea they're going to change things. And that's not why I did it. I was just trying to, bring some education, and if they're interested, I don't push it on anybody. I don't. I'm just like, if you're interested, I'm here. If you want a tattoo, I'm here. Like, I don't, no expert, just, trying to find out.
Mm-hmm. You're learning as you're going.
Exactly.
Just like everyone else.
As always, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that it's just a different attitude and being open. I think it's a different feel.
So, I got mine, I was still living out of state.
Oh, okay.
So in a super non-native community, like white place, Seattle, look at the demographics.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel pushback. I had lots of people ask because they have I was living outside of my context and environment. I was already out of place.
Yeah.
But, I didn't have anyone, yell slurs at me or anything. I don't even think they would even know I'm, down there. Honestly, people thought I was Asian. So,
yeah.
I don't know what they would think. Yeah, you know what that's like.
Yeah.
So that was not, I didn't have anything not well received. If they didn't receive it well, they kept it to themselves. Mm-hmm. And a lot of my close friends and family just asked. They're like, wow. And people who are in my circle support me, and I'm really, really blessed and thankful for that. And then moving home and coming home, and going back to where my family's from, it was different. I wasn't worried because they've always let me know I belong and that's where I'm from and to come home. Cool. So those doors have always been open. There were some things like, one of my aunties said, your uncle is going to ask you about that. And I said, well, he can ask me about that and I will answer. And to me, I'm fine with that. And he's very conservative. And he didn't outright say he disagreed or anything, but asked me lots of questions. And to me, and it's not a disrespectful thing, but it's not a men's space to speak on. So I'll answer those questions and speak to what I believe and how I feel, kind of with just knowing I'm secure in that because that wasn't their space to step into, so it didn't intimidate me or anything. But other than that, it's been such a blessing because I didn't ask my aunties those weren't conversations I had. But they, in a weird way, they started sharing things with me that if I would have asked prior, I'm not sure they would have answered to. Mm-hmm. And now that I just did it, they start passing on information to me as they come because I have this. And one of the cool things about it, like one example is one of my aunties reached out to me and sent me a picture of my great-great-grandmother. And she said, Charlene, this is the last person in your family that was known to have this chin tattoo. And I'll have to show you the picture. And she told me her name, and she told me a little bit about her life. And she was of that generation of contact. So 1900s. The picture's from 1903.
Okay, yeah.
And she was wearing Western dress, and they covered her chin tattoo. And so, but through story, through living memory, I know that she had it, and my aunt knows that she had it. She was able to share that with me and share that they covered it. And that's very telling of that time, that period where it started to go away, where it was shamed, where it was, you know, many, many things, whether it's Christianity, whatever you want to attribute it to, but essentially different forms of colonization. And that was the last woman in my family line, in my matrilineal line, which is how we go, to have it. And I was really blessed to know that, and that my aunt, you know, without me asking, shared that with me. And that's been really important to me, and to it also, I think it speaks to that, from that time frame to 1903 to this year.
Yeah.
You know, those lived experiences of the women in between, and yeah.
I love that things are changing too, because for a long time, religion, I think, kind of got in the way of these discussions, and I think that's changing too. I always say, like, colonization here in Alaska was done by religion, period. It was split up at that agreement, Seward's Agreement, or whatever it was, by religious factions. And then those factions went to our villages and ran the schools, the cities, everything. Not to mention they sent our, you know, kids away. But, like, you can't have a decolonization discussion and have religion as part of it. I mean, you have to be able to reject that. So, even though I respect people's beliefs, that's great. But leave them at the door if we're going to decolonize.
Various forms of colonization on the Alaska Native people have influenced the practice and even discussions about traditional Inuit tattoos or tattooing. But with leaders like Holly and Charlene sharing their own stories, many unprecedented connections are being made.
And it's been such a blessing. I could talk all day. Like, I did work at the United Nations, and a Lebanese woman once came up to me, and she says, "Oh my gosh," and she just like stopped me, and she's really close to my face and holding my hands, and she says, "When I look at your face, I see my grandmother." And Lebanese, and she's telling me about, you know, her culture. They used to do the same thing, and it went away, and she's never seen it before since, but she knows about it. And in my Inuit face, this woman found a connection. And that's such an amazing gift to have, that sisterhood and that inspiration and that hope and that connection to. I mean, another, you know, a man in an airport once stopped me and told me that his mother was one of the last women to have it on Savunga, and he's showed me her picture, and, you know, just like people come and they share these really beautiful histories and stories and what it means to them to see your face. And then it's more casual too. You know, I was at a park the other day, and a little girl, she walked by and she said, you know, I was wearing these earrings, and she was like, "Oh, I like earrings." And then I turned and I looked at her, she's like, "Oh wow," like, you know, and just a little girl. Yeah. And, you know, and so, and some people just really casually, "Oh, I like your tattoo." I'm like, you know, and it could be Polynesian people. It's, you know, it's all sorts. And I think maybe once someone who was drunk said I shouldn't have it. And I don't carry that. It doesn't bug me. Right. You know, obviously that person is hurting, you know, in their own way, and might feel shame still about culture. And I don't hold that against them, and that's not hurtful to me. That's just where they're at, you know. So it's been really well received amongst, I feel like, our community. It's been a gift. Like, you know, people opening their hearts to me is like, it's just like, wow, them, like, people just, it's such a deep connection almost instantaneously, just because of what you mean to them when they see that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's so cool.
It's been, it truly is a gift, like, in so many ways I didn't anticipate.
Yeah.
Someone, you know, a lot of people, like, especially non-Native people, their question point blank, because, you know, you're just in passing, is they often say, what does that mean? And they go like that, they rub their chin, right? And I tell them I'm Inuit and this is our traditional women's markings. Short answer. Mm-hmm. You know, they seem to be having more time. I tell them more like it's a rite of passage, a ceremony. Yeah, some people ask when they say, like, what does this mean? And I give you, like, the short answer. And the other part to that I tell people is, like, well, you know, just like anyone's tattoos, two people can have butterflies and they mean two different things, mm-hmm. right? Because for my area, especially this 3 lines is common. Mm-hmm. And so I tell them, for me personally, it's like my 3 lines represent my past, present, and future ancestors as always being with me. And I really try to honor the ancestors who have come before me for all the work that they did to literally, like, physically just get me here. Yeah. We like just existing. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of things that went into that, and a lot of thoughtfulness and their commitment to the future. And I really try to honor our ancestors for everything that they did. And I try to be mindful today of working for future generations. And that everything I do should be building and conscientious of our future generations. And that I am a physical embodiment of those ancestors, both past and present, in my existence today. So for me, that's what my 3 lines represent. And, you know, I think, you know, I don't want to speak for them. Someone else that represents their mixed heritage or their 3 kids. Or, you know, even though they look exactly the same, essentially. Mm-hmm. But for me, that's what my 3 lines. That's what I see.
So recently here in Anchorage, I had been noticing that a lot of young women were applying makeup or temporary tattoos in the form of traditional Inuit tattoos. And I was having a discussion about that with a couple of my friends. And Arnold, who hopefully you guys will hear from in a future episode, was just listening. He didn't have a whole lot to say, but he had one comment, and it was, I wonder how the women who have real Inuit tattoos feel about these women applying makeup or temporary tattoos. And I thought, what a great question.
Okay, so I Inuit danced in Kotzebue with the Northern Lights dancers for 10 years, I would say. Wow. From when I was about 11 until I left. And we would draw them on for big performances. So maybe that makes me more tolerant of it.
Because you've done it before.
Because we did it. And we did it for things like ICC. Mm-hmm. You know, big things. We didn't do it for every little performance. Like for tourists, we never did it. Right. And what a pain. Yeah. But for big things like ICC, okay, we would have all new atuk looks made, and they were all matchy, and then we'd have and then we'd draw them on for big performances. So I had this one girl, one of my first chin tattoos that I did, and she Alutik, so she's not Inuit, but she would draw them on every day for a month before I tattooed them on her, and I was like, wow, okay. Like, it's irritating for me as a... Remember, I say that because I just jumped in, but, no, it was just irritating. I was like, alright, whatever, you gotta try it out. And she wore it every day, and people give her comments, and then she would live with those comments for a bit. I don't know. Maybe it was because she wasn't committing, that she could wash them off for a whole month, and that pisses me off because it was a choice. For me, I wanted this. There's no question. This is who I am. So what she was doing was like, maybe this is who I am. Yeah, right. To me.
Right.
And maybe I want to see how other people react. And I was just like, I'm in. This is who I am. Mm-hmm. And I'm just going to live with how other people react. You know, I'm going to react as they react. We're going to do this for reals. And I guess that was hard for me to, accept in her. Mm-hmm. However, we did tattoo them, and they're amazing. And she's a different person now. I think if she could go back, she wouldn't do it like that, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't bug me. Because I think again, everyone's journey is different.